Hello people, welcome back to this Saturday. Beautiful day. I was just scrolling through this morning just to see if there's any news on Elliot Eastman, if he'd been, any news. And, it's surprising how many kidnappings there actually are. Not necessarily here in Mindanao, but Pampanga, Angeles City. Because the first headline that I put in was Korean rescued. Or was it Chinese? I can't remember, but there was a Chinese guy and a Korean guy. Now there was a shootout, and what the Korean guy had done, he went to buy a car. And the guys that he met kidnapped him in Pampanga. So people say about Mindanao being the red zone for kidnappings. Yes, it's there's been a few kidnappings here, but it happens in other places as well. But we don't really hear too much about it, and I don't know why, because, a kidnapping is a kidnapping, whether it's an American, any nationality. But when you get someone else like, Chinese nationals or, Korean nationals, you never hear too much about it. But I was just reading there this morning, there was 2 Chinese nationals kidnapped. That was in August, and one just recently. And on Thursday night, the police went in there and they rescued him and shot some people dead. So these kidnappings for ransom, they go on everywhere here. It's not just what you hear about Elliot or, Westerners, because it seems to me like the Westerners have a much larger profile for news reporting. And I don't know why that is. Do you guys know why that is? Because a kidnapping is a kidnapping. And I was also reading on there, and there was a cop killed in the shootout and another one injured purely through friendly fire. So their own police officers shot the other police officers in a crossfire. Imagine that. Imagine that. It does happen, I know. It's happened like in the West before. I remember a case in I think it was in Belgium, and there was a kidnapping there a good few years ago. And also there was, there's a cop killed there in a friendly fire. But these kidnappings are not just here in Mindanao. And these guys and also there was another kidnapping just a couple of days ago, again in Pampanga. And what it was, I think it was a Filipino guy, and he was just the same as Elliot, where the guys who came for him were dressed as police officers. Okay, you can check this, it's on the news. They were dressed as police officers, and they said that they were there for like an arrest warrant. So they took him, and the next day his sister went to the police station just to see what was happening to her brother. And he wasn't in the police station. It was a kidnapping, and they were dressed as police officers just to make out that, to make him go freely and easily. Anyway, a couple of days ago, I think it might have been this one I'm talking about, this recent one. On Thursday, the police went there and they rescued him. All that's all over the papers. And also on GMA and Phil Star News. So it's not just here where there's things happen. So obviously, when things happen to a Westerner, everyone goes, "Oh, no, it's not safe there in Mindanao. It's not safe." Well, it seems to me it's worse in Pampanga, because there seems to be more kidnappings there in these last few months than what there's been here. And also, statistically, I was looking, and there are less kidnaps or kidnapping cases in 2023 and this year than ever before here. So it's going down. Not one kidnapping is not a good thing, but like I say, guys, why is the Koreans, and when like a Filipino gets kidnapped and killed, or a Chinese national, a Korean national, like I said, why isn't that all over the news? And why doesn't anyone talk about that? It's not spread all over the news. You have to actually search for it. And that's in Pampanga, like I say, where a lot of foreigners are in Pampanga, because Angeles City, Walking Street, and such things like that. So, like I said, guys, it's not purely just here in Mindanao. Maybe in Mindanao there is more of a risk of Westerners getting kidnapped. Possibly, possibly. But it doesn't just happen here, it goes on everywhere. And I was very surprised to see how many people have been kidnapped in the last few months in Pampanga. Seriously. Very, very surprised. And I know there's a lot of foreigners and some vloggers who actually live in that area. Maybe you can shed some light on it. Did you hear about it? I mean, I didn't hear about it. It was only when I was searching about Elliot, if there was any news, if they'd found him, or if there's any progress in the case. But seriously, guys, I was very, very, very surprised. There was a kidnapping here, okay? And what happened? It was just on Aliguay Island, which is not far from me. And what happened there? It was before I came here, so it must have been 7 years plus. And there was an Australian guy, and he was living on the island. And this was the Abu Sayyaf, by the way. This was confirmed as Abu Sayyaf. So they went to kidnap him, but he escaped somewhere on the island. And there was two army guys on the island, and they, all the time, for protection. Anyway, he escaped, so they took the barangay captain, and they asked for ransom, no ransom, so they cut his head off. This was the barangay captain on Aliguay Island, which is not far from me. And now the barangay captain is the wife of the old barangay captain who had his head cut off. I was talking to her on the island, because I used to go there quite often fishing. And now there's like a police presence on the island, and when foreigners go there, these kind of the army guys or the armed protection, they know you're there. But I've got a lot of friends on that island, and I think there's 500 inhabitants on the island, and in fact I know all of them, but I'm good friends with many of them. And I used to go there quite often, and I used to, I said to the police, is it safe here? They said, Steve, yes, it is. It's just isolated cases, when many foreigners kind of flash their wealth. But I think you've got to be careful who's in with who, because, we don't know. But it doesn't scare me living here. Many people will comment, or did comment, you've got to get off of Mindanao Island. Well, I feel safer here than I would in Pampanga, I think, to be fair. And I've never had any incidents here. Mind you, like you say, it's good until it's not. It's safe until it's not. But I've never ever felt threatened here in any way, shape or form. I think it's a very safe place to live. Where I am, you go a bit further away and it's not so safe, as we all know. And we know the danger zones not to go. But listen, guys, it's not about Mindanao, it's about Pampanga. I was very surprised about that. How many people have been kidnapped there, and very recently. Very recently. I know a lot of these Chinese and Koreans are into these gambling syndicates, these pogos. So maybe it could be related to that. But I say the Korean guy who was kidnapped recently as well, very recently, he was just going to buy a car from these guys, and he went to have a look at the car and they kidnapped him. Simple as that. As simple as that. I think anyone you see as police, you've got to take that at face value, I think, because we don't know. There was an incident here, I remember, about 4 years ago. And it wasn't an incident, it was a warning that it was some foreigners putting it out, and I got to hear about it. But apparently there was these false checkpoints, and it was night time. And it's very rare you get checkpoints here in the night time by the PMP or, the highway patrol. And they were saying that any checkpoint, and it was during the time of the last election, so yeah, about 3 years ago, yeah. And there was apparently checkpoints that were being set up, and they weren't genuine. They were, let's just say, militants or terrorists or something like that. So they were saying, if you see a checkpoint at night time, just turn around and go back. Well, I remember this, and I was coming back from this time from Calamba. I stayed in Calamba a couple of days with a friend of mine, and I was coming back, and I think it wasn't far from Calamba itself, and there was a checkpoint, and I was coming back because I was driving about 10, half 10 at night time, which is very quiet on the roads, and I didn't know the roads too well then, from there to here. So I thought I'll drive evening time when there's not so much traffic. And I saw what I thought was a checkpoint. There's police and there's like torches in the road. So I didn't go any further. I turned around and went back. But I couldn't definitely say that that was a checkpoint or what it was, but I didn't risk it anyway. But yeah, I don't know if it was this election gone or the one before. I can't remember. I really can't remember, guys. I can't remember. But yeah, so we just have to be a bit vigilant, no matter where you are in the Philippines. But like I said, because these were Chinese and Korean nationals, and even like a citizen here of the Philippines, just recently, I think Wednesday or something, or Thursday, was kidnapped. We don't hear about that. We don't hear about these other cases where there are armed kidnappings because they are different nationals. I don't know why. Because a kidnapping is a kidnapping. But I just thought I'd say that, guys. And still, there's no word on Elliot, I don't think, or if there is, it's not on the news. I don't know. But yeah, just a very quick one, guys, about that. I was going to go fishing today, and I keep looking at the marine weather. It's looking okay tomorrow, but then today is a bit rough. Tomorrow it says is okay-ish, and then from Monday onwards, because of this typhoon, not that we get the typhoon, but we do get the the arse end of it, or just the rains and the storms in the ocean. So I don't know. I mean, if I go fishing tomorrow, I will let you guys know in the morning before I get there. And someone said to do a live when I was fishing, but obviously I can't because there's no internet. But that would be the thing to do, wouldn't it? Maybe I can go to some places where there's an internet connection when I'm doing a bit of fishing. So maybe that could be a good idea. I wouldn't mind doing that. I think that's a plan. But guys, listen, enjoy your weekend. And thank you for your subscriptions. It's much appreciated. And thanks for the support of the channel, guys. I'll see you later anyway. I'm mumbling. Take good care. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.